Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this homemade gingerbread house from scratch. It's a great project to do with your families over the holidays, so let's get started. For the gingerbread house, you're going to need a batch of our gingerbread cookie dough, so we'll put a link in the show notes below for you. Now the rest of the ingredients for it are totally optional. I'm just going to go through what I'm going to be using to decorate. So I'm going to be using coconut for snow on the ground. I'm going to be putting on 2 mini candy canes. I'm going to be using some peppermints. And you're going to need lots of royal icing, and mine's just leaving it plain white. I'm going to be using these little colored chocolate bits. I'm going to be also using these colored chocolate rocks. And I'm going to be using these little tiny, just little jelly candy that I can squish up and make flat. So I've rolled out my gingerbread cookie dough to about 1/4 of an inch thick with my rolling pin. And now I have a whole bunch of cutters that's going to help me cut out the house shape. And I'll put all the exact measurements in the show notes for you. But I'm going to start out here, and this is the front and the back of the house. So you're going to need 2 of these, cut those ones out. And then for the roof, you're going to need 2 of these large rectangle ones. And then for the side of the house, you're going to need 2 of these smaller rectangles. And then for the door, just a little tiny rectangle. And then as many windows as you want. So cut out a couple here. And lastly, you're going to need the chimney. And this is going to be the main part, the front of the chimney, the long rectangle. The back of the chimney, and then you're going to need 2 of these angled pieces. One's for the side and then the other one for the other side. So I'm going to put these all onto a parchment lined baking tray, and I'm going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 14 minutes. You'll have to watch that, knowing your oven. And I'll have to do up another batch and make sure I've got 2 of the big pieces of the house. Once all my cookie pieces have baked and cooled completely, I'm ready to assemble the gingerbread house. So I'm going to start with the back end and the one side first. So I'm just going to take my royal icing and I'm going to pipe a line just on the bottom here, like this. You want quite a bit of it for this base building. And then I'm just going to place it down here. And then behind it, to hold it up, I'm just putting a jar. You can use a can or anything heavy that's strong enough to hold it up like that. And now I'm going to put a stripe of royal icing down the side here, or the back, bottom here, and along the side that's going to attach to this back end, just like that. And then I can move my jar inside so they both can lean against that, but it should be pretty sturdy already because of the amount of royal icing on the base. So the jar's not doing much yet. Now, moving to the front here, I'm going to do the same thing. Put royal icing on the bottom. And then up here, this stripe up here, where this is going to attach, like that. So you can see it's standing up with no jar there. And then my last piece is going to go in there. So I need my royal icing on the bottom and then up the sides. The 2 sides inside of the house, which will be tricky to see, but you'll know from what I've done already. So the 2 spots there, and then just fit them together, kind of like a puzzle, and press them together, meeting the ends. So I'm going to let that dry for about 20 minutes. I want it to be nice and hard before I start building on the roof. While my house is drying, I'm going to assemble my chimney. So I have my long piece of my chimney and my 2 angled pieces. And along each side of the chimney here, I'm going to put a stripe of royal icing. And then I'm going to attach this part of the chimney to it. And then the opposite one on the other side, and it's sticking there together. And then I'm going to put 2 stripes of royal icing on the small piece of the chimney, and I'm going to put that up on top. and then make sure it's lined up, and then set that to dry as well. Once the sides have hardened, what I'm going to do now is pipe 2 stripes of royal icing up the sides of the peak of the front and the back. I want to get quite a bit because it's going to need a lot of strength to hold on the rooftop. So I'm just going to press this down onto there. And I'm just going to hold it here for a couple minutes until it hardens. Or I might be able to get away with, well, I don't know. I think I might have to hold it for a little bit and come back just to be on the safe side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Pipe lots of royal icing so it anchors it. Now I'm being extra cautious just because when you're working with the royal icing, you want it to make sure that it does have a little bit of a chance to grab and harden. You probably could get away with not having to wait so long, but like I said, I'm just being extra cautious. So I don't want my house to fall apart on you. So there's a little gap in the top, but that's going to be filled in afterwards. So now I'm going to not fool around with this anymore because I can feel it moving on me. I'm going to let it dry for another 20 minutes before I start on anything else. Next, we're going to attach the chimney to the roof. So I'm going to put lots of royal icing. Perhaps you've noticed that theme. Lots and lots and lots. Just like that. Now I've got my jar below because I'm going to hope that it acts as an assistant to support it just as it's drying. There's lots of royal icing, so it really doesn't need the jar, but I just want it there just in case. And it's just like that. Next up, we're going to put the door on. So I want to pipe my royal icing on the bottom. You could put the door on flat if you wanted to. I just kind of like the way it looks when it's partially open. And I'm just going to press it into there. Just like that. So we're going to get started on the windows next. So I'm just going to push this aside and we're going to do some window work. So for the windows, I took my little yellow gummies and I just flattened them out with a rolling pin just to get them nice and flat because we're going to make it look as if there are lights on in the house. So I've switched my tip just to a smaller tip on my bag. It's a number 5 round tip. And I'm just going to put little dots in the corners to hold it down. And I'm just going to make sure it's stretched out. It doesn't have to fill up the whole window because we're going to pipe a little window frame around it, like that. And then going around, I'm just going to fill it in, like this. And then going across in the center and across again. So I'm going to finish off the rest of my windows and then I'll get the house, it should be dry, and we'll put on the windows. So I'm going to take my royal icing and just put it on the back of the window. And then I'm going to put this one on the front beside the door. Just hold it for a couple seconds to help it stick. There we go. And another one beside the door. Like that. Hold it again. Trying to hold it here. Just gonna wobble down there on me. There we go. And then another one on the side over here. And then I'll put the matching one on the other side. So to do the roof, I've switched to a number 22 star tip. And what I'm going to do is just line my piping tip up at the bottom there and let it grow and then pull it off. So I'm kind of going to build up like this, building up and then pinching it off at the top like this. So I'm just going to build these kind of little snail type of shapes all the way up and over the entire roof of the house, and then I'll be back to show you when I've got it all covered. So I finished my roof, and what I'm going to work on now is my chimney with my chocolate rocks. So I'm just going to put some more royal icing onto the chimney here, and then I'm just going to take a spatula and just kind of smooth it out a little bit more so it covers more of the space. And then I'm just going to try to choose more of the flat, wider rocks to stick onto here. Oh, and I need way more. I should have known my own rule. Lots of royal icing. So anyways, I'm going to try choose some of the flatter rocks in order to put them onto here like that. There we go. More royal icing solves it. And I'm just going to cover the chimney, all of the sides, just in this exact same technique. And when I've got it all covered, I'll be back to show you the next step. Now that my chimney is done, I'm going to work on the front. So just using the same technique as I did on the roof, I'm just going to fill in this little edge here, this overhang, just like this, the same piping technique. And I'm using like one of the larger star tips, which makes it really easy to kind of fill in any gaps that you might have. And you can go back and touch anything up later with a smaller tip if you need to. So there we go. And now I'm going to build my peppermints down to the bottom of the roof edge here. So you just want to be careful that they're not sliding down on you. Just hold them for a couple seconds. Like that. And then, so I'm going to build those all the way down, but just so you can see what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go across the top, the same technique that I was using. And then I'm going to put my peppermints straight up and down this time, just to add a little bit of a change to the top of the roof. So I'm going to finish off putting my peppermints on, and I'll be back to continue on. So now I'm going to use my little chocolate candies to act as lights around the windows. So I'm just taking my royal icing, and I've put back my small tip on, and I'm just covering the top there. And I'm just going to put each little light on, and I'm going to go all the way around the windows and the door and add some to the peppermints, wherever you want to put little Christmas lights on the gingerbread house. And then when I've got all my lights back on, I will come back to show you how to finish off the gingerbread house. So to finish off the gingerbread house, I'm just going to work on the ground here. So I'm just going to squeeze out my royal icing, and then using my spatula, I'm just going to smooth it out. Now, like I said before, if you're not a coconut fan or you don't want to use coconut, you could use anything right now, like chocolate, white chocolate pieces, or even like sanding sugar. That would look nice on top here of the snow here on the ground. I'm just going to smooth this off, and then I'll just show you a part. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my coconut and just sprinkling it on top of the royal icing. It's just going to give it a little bit more texture. And you don't even have to do this part. I just like how it adds a little bit to it. And then I have a little Christmas tree that I worked on one of my Christmas tree videos. And I'm just putting that in there too. And you can add the candy canes and all that stuff. So I'm going to finish off the ground, and then I'll be back to close the video. So there you go, everybody, how to make your own gingerbread house from scratch. So thanks for watching the tutorial today. Remember to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of our newest videos. Happy holidays, and I will see you again next time.